Hi Turnip, so today I have a really cute recipe and it's gonna be my Totoro macaron and they're super cute and who doesn't like Totoro? So without further ado, let's get started. So for today's recipe, it's kind of interesting. I've already pre-measured out all my ingredients. I have my almond meal and confectioner sugar and my granulated sugar and egg whites. So I just poured in my egg whites and it's in the bowl, so I'm just gonna whisk it until we reach a beautiful cloudy consistency. And this macaron recipe is kind of advanced because it requires a little bit more skill with piping. But don't worry, you guys, once you guys get the practice, you guys will be good in no time. So once it looks like that, we are ready to add our granulated sugar. So just add it all in one shot, it doesn't matter, and we are going to whisk it until we reach stiff peaks. And all the measurements and ingredients are provided in the description box down below, so check it out. So at this point we have reached stiff peaks and we are going to separate our egg whites into 3 portions because we're going to have 3 different colors for our macaron. For this step, it's extremely crucial that you guys measure your portions with your gram scale because you guys cannot eyeball it. For this step, I definitely do not recommend estimating because you guys do not know the mass of your egg whites and you guys do not know how much you're using. So that would ultimately change your macaron ratios and that's not something that we want to do. And the reason why I'm portioning it out into 3 portions is because I decided that I just want to use 1 egg whites. So I'm just splitting my original recipe into 3 portions instead of making 3 separate batters. And don't worry, I've done all the calculations in the description box down below and you guys will just have to follow simple numbers and you guys will be ready to go. And you guys will be saving so much time and also reducing the amount of ingredients that you guys will be using. So basically I just pour in my dry ingredients and add it to my egg whites and then I fold it until I reach a beautiful lava consistency and then I'm just going to put it in my piping bag. And as you guys can see, the batter is white, so that's going to be Totoro's belly and the eyes. And we are going to do the same thing with our gray batter. So right here I'm just scooping the egg whites that I measured out previously and I'm just going to mix it in with a drop of black food coloring and it's going to turn gray. Look at that beautiful gray color. And if you guys notice, for this recipe I split it into 40% white, 40% gray, and 20% brown for the tree trunk. And just like previously, I'm just combining the respective dry ingredients and mix it in with my egg whites and start folding it. And the reason why I'm distributing more percentage to the gray and the white batter over the brown batter is because the tree trunk does not require too much macaron batter. And honestly, it just makes more sense to distribute the other percentages, extras, to the white and the gray so that we can make more Totoros. But if you guys don't understand percentages or you guys don't want to do the math, I've already done the math in the recipe, so don't worry. And just like previously, we are just going to scoop our batter into our piping bag. And I like the fact that my Totoro is light gray. I think light gray Totoros are much cuter, and especially since it's the summer, I really like light colors, so light gray is a good color. But if you guys want dark gray, you guys could add in another drop of black food coloring. So finally, for our last portion, we are going to make our tree branch, which is our brown portion. And as you guys can see in the recipe, for the dry ingredients, I've also added in my dark cocoa powder and my brown sugar so that it creates that beautiful brown color. And in retrospect, I definitely wish that I added in a bit more cocoa powder so that my tree branch stands out more, so the color is definitely different and it's not as light as the gray in the Totoro. But don't worry, for the recipe I've already adjusted and accounted for that, so your tree branch and your Totoro are going to come out in the perfect shade. So when making small portions and just making something really precise, especially for designs, I have 2 tips for you guys. So first tip is definitely recommend you guys to watch and carefully fold your batter because it's very easily that you guys overfold your batter, especially since we're using and dealing with very little amounts of dry ingredients and egg whites. It could easily be too runny and that's not what we want. But I definitely recommend making macarons on the runnier side for this recipe because whenever you guys do designs, it's easier to pipe a runnier macaron as long as it's not completely deflated. So for this recipe, I created the Totoro templates, so you guys could definitely find the templates in my description box down below, so check it out as well. One thing I really like about this design is that it's almost the same whether it's left or right, but I inverted those first two rows down at the bottom so that even if you guys were to pipe your macaron batters, it would just come out perfectly when you guys sandwich them together. And I cannot stress how easy it is to make this recipe with a template. And we are just going to pipe a dot at the belly, and we do not need to pipe the whole entire belly because we are going to tap our cookie tray and it's going to move and spread out. So another quick tip for you guys when you guys are doing designs for your macarons, definitely do not pipe the whole entire length because once you tap it, it's going to spread out and it's going to create that beautiful look. But if you guys like pipe a lot, it's just going to ruin the design. And for this recipe, I pipe a couple of Totoros, but you guys definitely have to remember that we are keeping a bit of our white macaron batter for the eyes later. And then we are just going to tap our cookie tray so that it could spread a bit, and by spreading it, it will also reduce the spread later on. So when we add in more colors, it will not spread out even more. And by tapping our cookie sheet, we are also releasing all the excess air bubbles. And as you guys can see, the white batter definitely fill up the whole entire belly. So that's perfect because it's not too much, it's not too little, and by tapping it, it definitely fill up perfectly. I also have one very important tip for you guys. When you guys are doing designs, I definitely recommend when you guys are splitting your egg whites into portions, definitely put the egg white and portions in the fridge until you guys are folding it, or definitely put your batter in your pastry bag in the fridge until you guys are using it. So with that said, when I piped the brown batter to make the tree branch, it was straight from the fridge, just to make sure that my egg whites are in pristine conditions and it's ready to go. Since we are making small batters, it could get warmed up easily by room temperature, especially since it's the summer, so definitely use that and remember that trick and tip. Now moving on to the next step, I definitely recommend piping the sides of the Totoro, and I think it makes sense to pipe from the arms up to the ears. I think that's the easiest, and then we are just going to fill up the middle. And when you guys are piping the middle part, if it's not perfect, that's totally okay because we are going to tap our cookie sheet and it's going to spread. So I tapped the cookie sheet again, and then now I'm just piping onto the tails. And you guys should definitely tap your cookie sheet in between each arm or body that you guys are making your Totoro. It just makes it easier and it just prevents more spreading. So my white batter was from the fridge and I just decided to use a toothpick and just pipe onto the eyes. Or you guys could use a very fine small tip, pastry tip, and just pipe it directly on top. But I think using a toothpick is so much easier and it's much more manageable. And of course, since I'm done with the eyes, I'm just tapping my cookie sheet again. And honestly, for these kinds of designs, the secret to making a very smooth macaron design is definitely tapping your cookie sheet every time. And I know it's kind of long, but lastly we are just going to pipe the legs. This macaron recipe is a little bit challenging and a little bit more time consuming, but if I can do it, you guys can definitely do it as well. And I just baked it in a preheated 300 degrees oven for 20 minutes and it came out perfectly. Look at that. And from the side, you guys could also see that it has that really beautiful feet. And like I mentioned earlier, I just wish that my tree branch was a little bit darker. I should have added a little bit more dark cocoa powder, but that's okay. And you guys could definitely see the designs, and we are just going to use an edible marker and just draw in the designs. And the Totoro signature is definitely the whiskers, the eyes, the triangle nose, and the 3 stripes on the top and the 4 stripes at the bottom in the belly, and then of course the feet and the arms. And for the edible marker I got from Amazon, it's from Food Writers. I definitely recommend this brand because it's really good and it's definitely better than Food Writers for sure because it has so much ink and it lasts me for a very long time and it's very precise as well. And of course, I'm drawing these designs after my macarons has completely cooled. So in this video, I have already given a bunch of tips and secrets, so I hope you guys take advantage of this and definitely give this macaron a try. And even though this recipe can be a little bit challenging, I think it's super fun and I think it's so rewarding because these Totoros are very cute. And turnips, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this really creative and slightly challenging recipe on how to make the Totoro macaron. And don't worry, I've already done all the calculations, gave you all my tips so you guys can succeed and make this beautiful macaron. And give this video a thumbs up if you guys like Totoro. And for those who haven't subscribed yet, I definitely recommend you guys hitting that subscribe button so I could bring some more sweetness to your life every week. And definitely check me out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram because that's where I usually post my next creative idea. Or just reach out to me there. And until next time, bye!